Right, so behind me here I've got the Audi S3 that I recently bought as a little project for the channel. Yeah, it's a nice car, isn't it? Sprint blue, it's got the stock alloy wheels. But basically this was the cheapest Audi S3 in the country, right? I bought it from BCA, unseen, and it had a running issue, right? You know, it's gone into limp mode. It's just got no power at all, man. And that running issue has turned into all sorts of problems, and then more problems, and then even more problems. Now, VRS have absolutely busted the gut to get this car to my car event, which was on Sunday just gone. Brilliant car event that was, by the way. But on the morning of the car event, the car had another issue. Yeah. So basically, guys, in this video, we're going to speak to Will, find out what issues we've had with the car, and talk about possibly changing the plans with the Audi S3. Will.
Take two.
Take two.
Because your memory card's rubbish.
Yeah, I'm skinned because I keep spending the money on these bloody
you
cars.
can't afford more memory cards, can you?
I literally can't afford nothing now, food, anything. So the S3, we had it completed, ready for the car event on Sunday, didn't we? So we were a few days on the car.
Saturday night, me and Jules were here. Jules has been mainly working on the car. I stripped it, then Jules has sort of done all the work and put it back together. So I'd say it was 7:30.
On Saturday night,
it was all back together, running, road tested, mint.
But let's just quickly say that this car needed a hell of a lot more work than we ever anticipated. Like,
this was like Planet of Disasters, not Planet of Dreams.
This car has been a headache. Like the Gold Bar has been a headache, but that was all worth it because that was like for the legendary Gold Bar. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, yes, this car has needed a lot of stuff because that's why it was in the auction, because someone was just like, you know what, just get rid of this car. But it's the tarmac car now.
Yeah, no, it is. So Saturday night, 7:30 p.m.
It's all cool. We're done. Yeah, I'd got my Sierra ready and everything, and that was all cool. So I was dead happy.
The Touring was even like in a better state. Like, look how
slammed and like looking mint.
Looking good.
Then basically, we came here on Sunday morning. Ash was coming to pick the Touring up.
Yeah.
And we drove the S3 outside, or Jules did, parked it up. I got my Sierra out, everything was cool. We were just like wiping stuff down.
Ready to
Ash
roll.
was coming to get the Touring.
Yeah.
Pulled up. I was like, okay, it's cool. So I was like, Jules, let's get some petrol. Well, Ash was putting the thing on the truck, the M3 on the truck. Anyway, it wouldn't start. I was like, what? I was like, oh no, what have we done? We broke something. It must be something we've done. Anyway, we went and got a VAGCOM. Camshaft signal, no signal basically. Camshaft sensor, sorry, crankshaft sensor, no signal. I was like, that's not so bad, because probably maybe like a wiring plug's come off, something like that. Anyway, I went underneath and the plug was on. I was like, maybe the sensors failed, or maybe the cranks fell out. I don't know. Because I was just like, I don't care right now. Ash, can you come back and get this?
Yeah.
So Ash came back, got the car was at the show.
Got the car to the show, brilliant.
Ash brought it back here.
So at this point it's essentially a non-runner, yeah?
Non-runner, brought it back here, and then we basically, Jules put it on the ramp Monday morning and found that the wiring plug had gone green inside, just corroded.
Okay.
So we cleaned the terminals up, didn't fix it, so there must have been high resistance in there, which has caused crankshaft sensor failure.
Okay.
We put a new sensor in, it fired straight up and it's been mint since. So it's just something so simple.
Silly little thing.
Yeah, I mean, you would never check that. And thing is, where we've been, it's about the only plug we haven't had undone, funnily enough. And if we had it done, we'd have seen it. So it's kind of ironic, really. So anyway, that was done. Then we were like, headlight doesn't work. I was like, Calvin told me about that. I was like, no. So then we were messing about with the headlight, found that we swapped the bulbs over because we weren't sure, because the whole side of the headlight didn't work, including the indicator. And it was a corroded terminal on the indicator, luckily, and just a bulb. So that was an easy fix. The central locking the key wasn't working, so we reprogrammed the key, and that then the doors opened. And mate, honestly, like whoever wins this is going to get a good mechanical car. But how far do you go?
How far do you go? This is the thing.
So you were like, we really want to paint the bonnet and stuff, and I was like, do you know what? I mean,
get the mechanical side of it right. That's
because the paintwork's like something. Because really, I mean, you could go around the car and pick a fault with any car and any panel. Yeah, that's not ideal. But it's a free motor. I know I've been tight, but you spent so much money on genuine bits for this car. Oh, you haven't skimped on this car. This has the proper bits on it. The exhaust in the middle, where it was all bandaged up.
Yeah.
So basically, that had a Miltech downpipe for a Miltech system.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've used a TTS centre piece and 2 clamps, and then we've shortened the centrepiece down so it all fits on properly as it should do now.
Things like
that was done not factory, but you know how it should be.
How it should be, yeah.
It's had new rear calipers. So the rear calipers are on it were actually for solid disc. So the pads were just pinned onto the disc because obviously it's vented, so they weren't wide enough. So that's why you were getting brake fade, because it was just solid on there. Because I took the calipers off. I took this side off because that was the one that had the handbrake arm that wasn't working.
Yeah.
And you don't notice the size. It's about 10 mil. You can't really see the same design. Took it off, and I was down the front when the new caliper came. And I looked at it, and I was like, "That's like it's not a different size." I was like, "Oh my life! I bet you this." How
annoying!
So I came back down and got the new caliper, looked, and this side was the same. So it had the solid disc caliper. I don't know how they'd managed to do it. So I did the ones off like a 286 mm GTI on it. So it's had a pair of new rear calipers, new rear disc Brembo. New rear pads, Brembo. It's had racing line springs. Thanks to Racing Line for helping us out a bit with that.
Shout out to Racing Line again.
Also had...
Before we open the bonnet, I just want to drop the bad news right now, right?
Yeah.
So the bad news is, right, everyone, I'm going to be giving this car away this coming Friday on Planet of Dreams, but because of all these delays, because of all these issues that we've had with this car, that ain't going to happen now. So what I've done, it's still going to happen, but not until next week. I'll swap next week's prizes over with this week's prizes, so all of next week's prizes will get given away this Friday, and this car will now get given away that Friday. So if you've not signed up as a dream catcher yet, I'd really appreciate a little bit of input. But I will be giving it away next Friday, so it's still getting given away, but all these delays have caused it to be put off till next Friday. Exactly that. So that's the bad news, but the good news is, because Will's just about to pop the bonnet, because underneath the bonnet of this car is a very, very beautiful place. So back over to Will.
So, it's had the steering wheel as well, hasn't it?
Steering wheel.
Glove box.
Glove box.
Had the aircon display, loads of bits inside.
The wheels have been refurbed. We've had
spaces, longer bolts. The wheels have been done by RRT. I mean,
we've put new tyres on it as well. Yokohama
new tyres on it. I forgot about that. You know how much we said. It's just it's more.
Yeah, I know. All this money's just so engine
basically. On the last video that we did on this car, I showed you the camshaft, how it corroded, and the reason why the valve was sticking open and it was causing a misfire.
Yeah.
Since then, we Julian went to put it back together. Go on.
Sorry, can I just show everyone how nice this engine bay? Look at that. Like, you got it all clean and ready for the show.
Yeah, we cleaned
Sunday.
it all,
it looks absolutely stunning. For an old 07 plate Audi S3, that engine bay is beautiful. It's lovely.
Julian, he even put, this was rusty, so he rubbed it down and painted the fuel pump.
I thought that. I actually noticed that.
He cleaned all this fittings up, and all the bolts that were missing out the rail have been replaced. And
oh my god, it's mint.
Little bits that we had. We've put on this car lots of little bits that we have knocking about that there's no point. We don't charge you for that, but we have lots of bits knocking about. When stuff was missing,
just to make it nicer.
Yeah, just to make it nicer. So
sorry, the camshafts.
So the problem we found was when we started looking, I took the top off, didn't take any notice of the engine code to begin with, and then I had the top rail and I put it in the hot wash. And when it came out of the hot wash, I looked at it and it said BWA, and I was like, that's not a BYD engine. So this is ultimately it's like a GTI engine. Okay. The difference between a GTI engine is the camshafts, basically.
Okay.
The BWA pistons are really strong. The guys at AKS, Alex, and me and him chat a lot, and we talk about putting BWA pistons in cars because they're a better piston, we think anyway, for the ring landings, because the ring landing is less likely to break. So ultimately this is a good engine now. So what we've done is put the S3 cams, 2 brand new ones in it, from TPS, brand new ones at 500 odd quid a piece, which was horrendous. It's had a new cam belt kit, new water pump, new timing chain tensioner, new timing chain. It's had a new fuel pump bucket, PCV, dipstick. It's had the injectors out, tested, cleaned, flow matched, put back in. The head has been off the car. We took the head off, we put it in a hot wash, decoat the head internally where all the sort of the black oil coated. That's all gone. That's done. All the valve seats, all checked for leakage, all been vac tested. We've carbon cleaned the inlet ports as well. The reason we took the head off was because we were looking and thinking, well, we'd carbon clean it in situ, and I was like, it's quite dirty inside. Then Julian came to me and he's like, oh, there's a problem. I was like, oh no, like, something's broken. And he's like showing me the actuator, it's just like not even attached to the turbo. I was like, what? And you can't get to the bolts, it's virtually impossible.
No.
So it was take the turbo off, put 2 bolts in the actuator, put the turbo back on, or basically undo the head bolts and lift the head off after taking the 5 top turbo bolts. So we just took the head off, cleaned it.
So does that mean you had to do the head gasket as well?
Head gasket's been done, genuine head gasket, genuine bolts. Yeah, all the top of the deck's been cleaned, made mint. The bores all look really good, so that looked good. It's had new plugs. I had a set of the red coil packs knocking about.
I noticed
so
that.
Put those in for you. I know everybody loves red coil packs. It's not. I'm not a massive fan of them, but I had a set.
Personally think they look brilliant.
Yeah,
that's me all over. That is.
So then Racing Line have done the intake for us on the springs, obviously. It's the proper KO4 Racing Line intake.
That intake is beautiful. I love
it. It does fit really nice.
Yeah, that's lovely.
So the clip that was missing off there is now on there. The bolts that were missing off the inlet's been through the hot wash, been completely cleaned out. We cleaned the throttle body, reset that. The DV's been checked and has the revision G that everybody loves in there. And then obviously everything. Oh, new coolant bottle as well. The coolant bottle's hanging on it. So you had on this the pipe on the top had a little split in it, and I just thought, I know it's just going to overheat in front of everyone, so we just done that, and that's it. Like the battery, the battery was too big.
Yeah.
So what we've done is put so we've got a Golf R Mark 7 battery in it, and then we put the Mark 7 Golf R like cover around it.
Nice.
There's a couple of the bits were missing, so I thought it looked quite
neat. It looks very neat,
nice and neat. So
wow, so going back to you carry on if there's more to be said. It sounds like you're about to say more. Is there more? Surely not.
Yeah, all the fuel pipe that was split down here. It's had the brand new fuel pipe on there, new clips. I put new clips on here because they were wrong. You know, I just put it back to really how it should be. Then it was all done, wasn't it?
It was all done.
And then this morning we had like some turbocharged Camaro under Dyno, didn't we? And a turbo under the back of the car.
Yeah, that was
pretty cool.
mad.
And the longest boost pipe ever.
Long boost pipe going from the front to the back of the car. But
so that was cool on a Dyno. We were just waiting for that. So you came and we were like, right, let's put it on a Dyno because this is tuned unknown. So we put it on, and it was like adding 25% fuel. Basically, the tune was just wasn't good. And then it's like, now we've got to tune it.
So I've popped up today just to quickly grab the car, basically.
Yeah, and then we were like, let's just like put it on the dyno and then like just see what the tune's like.
It's now 5 o'clock. I've been here since this morning, and Will's just pulling the rest of his 2 hairs out.
Have I got 2 hairs? So basically, kind of had it on the dyno, logged it, and it was really bad. So no wonder it's had an engine in, and no wonder the other engine wasn't great. Yeah. So it's obviously never been looked after. Slap wrist to the previous owner.
Definitely.
For being a douche.
Slapped everything.
So, yeah. Anyway, Connor's retuned the car, and it's now done 327 horsepower and
that's good
368 pounds-feet. So basically, it's what you'd call either a low output stage 2 or a stage 1 decap.
Okay.
So these kind of go stage 1 plus, which is with a high pressure pump. So you can't call it a 1 plus because it hasn't got a high pressure pump. This is kind of how it's always been over the years. Yeah. So this is like just a mild stage 2. And we didn't want to put a high pressure pump in. We talked about it, but then it was like, is the clutch going to go? Is there going to be like another issue? And then you were like, well, please don't ruin the clutch. And I was like, I promise. So it's been tuned. The tuning it now is mega.
Wicked.
So I'm in the car now. You're going to drive it home. So
I'm going to drive it home.
Yeah.
I've still got to do my first drive in this car. I've never actually driven it. I drove it here, but it was running rough. It was driving like.
So all you have to bear in mind is everything's new. It has been road tested. It's been on a dyno. It's done 10, 15 runs on a dyno. Nothing's leaked out. It's all good. Everything's been checked. But your rear brakes are new. So they might be a bit noisy because the Brembos come with a bit of paint on, don't they? So,
okay, yeah.
And then just don't get the brakes too hot on the way home. And then obviously your front discs, they're going to want some surface corrosion off them or whatever they've got. I don't know if they've got any on.
No,
they're actually all right.
Yeah, no, they're all right. They're all right.
So basically, yeah, that's it. So this should be tons better.
It's going to be a lovely car. It is. It's a lovely car now, isn't it? So mechanically, it's bang on. Tuning wise, it's a stage 2 sprint blue manual Audi S3. Mechanically, it's good. It's had a chain, a head gasket, service, a bloody
Cam belt, water pump, all the parts we've fitted.
sorry, a chain, a cam belt, not a
Yeah, no, it's
chain.
had a chain as well. So the chain, so your belt does that pulley there, and it doesn't do this one. The chain runs across the back with a tension. So that's another common fault on these. And these are all genuine dealer parts.
Even your dipstick that you love to do, Will, you've done that as well.
Yep. Well, it's funny that I think that was all right, and then like Jules put it in and pulled it out and it snapped. I was like, oh, it's just so old and fragile, like me. So,
Well, after this last 2 weeks you've had anyway.
yeah. So I mean, it's all the car now. It's just
It's a decent car.
yeah. It would have been nice to have, done more to it, as in like paint it and this and the other. But where do you stop?
Where do you start?
It's a giveaway car. Someone's going to win this and have the opportunity to maybe have an S3 for nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe spend a few £100 on some paint and get himself a mint S3.
Yeah,
I mean,
all
how good's
these-
that?
How good is that?
I
All
wouldn't
these-
be annoyed. Honestly,
you're
if I
right.
won this car, I'd just book it in. I'd have the bonnet painted myself, front bumper, and then
Job's a good one.
and have it mocked.
I know. I'm sort of stressing all the time trying to get these cars right, and it's,
I mean,
more,
it's
it's
all
more pressure
new.
on you, and it's a nice car. And I think that ultimately the priority needs to be getting them mechanically right.
Let's be honest. When you bought this car, this was only meant to have really. It's had new plugs and coil packs, and the injectors have all been out, tested, cleaned. I mean, it's had everything. So like really now, I would much rather have had this and need the paint than had a mint car and had to do all that.
Yeah.
Because that's you know how much that's cost.
Because the truth of all the cost of what we've spent, or I've spent,
that's cost us. That would have cost to do all that as much as buying a whole car.
yeah, the cost of the car was cheaper than the cost of the
You're
repairs.
so balls deep
That's what she said.
in the car.
Yeah.
Once it's just like, what do you do once it's stripped? It's terrible, really. I mean, but
It's
it is
the
what it is.
reality of, I suppose, old cars and buying a car unseen, isn't it? It's a gamble that I took when I bought
Even
it.
your thing is, you could have gone and bought a mint one, and
Yeah.
it still could have been the same.
Exactly
Because you
that.
could have thought, it's mint, so it'll only want a spark plug.
Yeah.
Because it's mint. Because it looked like a shed, you thought there was something major wrong with it potentially.
Yeah.
But if it looked mint, you'd have thought there wasn't, and then you'd have paid 7-8 grand, and then ended up buying and then spending
that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's just, you just don't know. And I suppose for you in particular, right now, you're seeing a lot of this. Because, you go through a lot of these cars, don't you? It's a common...
there are. I mean, there's a lot of good companies out there that work on these.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good companies, but as many good companies as there are, there's bad people. And if you've got a car that's been to someone who's just throws them together, then what you end up with is when that car leaves here, I've got to do my best. That's why I keep lots of brackets and stuff, because when it leaves, if you're the last person to work on it, you try and have everything how it should be.
Yeah.
'Cause otherwise, I think that you've looked after it forever, and it's all your fault for everything that's wrong with the car.
Yeah,
So
of
it's
course.
difficult, but there's lots of good companies out there that work on them. Though it's not, I'm not alone. There's loads of people out there, mate.
And just as well, 'cause they're a common engine, it's a common setup, isn't it? This.
Yeah.
And they
It's
do
just
have
nuts
their
and
common
bolts.
faults. Yeah.
Just nuts and bolts.
Yeah, cool.
Just
All
lots
right.
of them on this one.
Yeah, lots of broken ones. Right, wicked. Thanks, Will.
Cheers.
Yeah, so the bad news is I am not going to be giving this car away this coming Friday because I need to film a first drive, get it edited, get it uploaded, because I still haven't bloody driven this thing yet. I obviously want to do draggy times on it. It needs a proper good clean, and I would like to get a couple of little bits done if I can, if I get time before I give it away as well. So postponed the date for the giveaway, but on the other hand, you can see how much work, effort and money has gone into this car, so it's all worth it. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna wrap it up, leave it Zach, so I need to get home, but thank you very much for watching. If you have not entered for your chance to win this car for nothing, them lot are just messing around in the back, probably laughing at how much money I spent on this car. Yeah, if you're not entered for your chance to win this car for nothing, you must be a subscriber of my channel. If you're not a subscriber, you are not welcome to enter, but it's planetofdreams.co.uk. Link is in the description below. I do also offer the opportunity to sign up as a dream catcher, which is £9.99 a month, and for that you get 10 entries to every single competition across the whole website. I'm gonna ask you, encourage you to sign up as a dream catcher, even if it's just for this one bloody month, just to contribute towards the big bills that I've had for this car this month. So yeah, good luck to everyone who entered, and good luck to everyone who has entered, and I'll see you live on the Planet Dreams Instagram next Friday to announce the winner. Alright, in the meantime, I am of course going to upload the final drive or first drive video on this car. First drive, final drive, literally the same thing. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you liked this video. If you did like this video, hit like. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe, and if you're on TikTok, give me a follow on TikTok at Calvin's Car Diary, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.